this one in the oven right now. I feel like Quickshot should know his bangers very well, being in Britain so much, but yeah, we're done. No. We're going to move on to the fact that we are in Champ Selects, and I am floundering. A couple of jungle bands. Aphelios gone. Yeah, Shogun's most played the back half of this year has been Aphelios. Even though it hasn't been an Aphelios heavy metagame, he has been running it even above the Sivers and the Callistas. Callista being up, though. One more shot. Does Deft get to play it?
The curious one is they actually left it when they played against RNG yesterday. Or they actually left it until that second phase. It ended up getting ran away in the second rotation. So curious now, like, they have actually been prioritizing other things ahead of it, like this Aatrox for King in the top lane.
Right. You were showing me the stats, though. You had the whole doc up.
It's insane.
Yeah, so quick, I know the answer. This is for Twitch chat. All right, Twitch chat, listen, YouTube chat, whatever. What is Deft's gold difference at 14 domestically on Callista this split? Across his 7 Callista games, what's his average gold difference at 14? I want the numbers flooding through. It's 1,000. It's a lot.
So much gold.
He's so ahead.
14 minutes as well. It's absolutely absurd. But, I mean, curious now to see exactly if Saigon could try and match that, right? Because Shogun and Taki have been the strongest part of Saigon Buffalo. We're already seeing Hasman taking what could be an interesting matchup with the Aurelia in that top side, and then the Graves for BJ as well.
Yeah, will be his 4th Aurelia pick. Not one he's played a ton of. It's usually the Gwen for him, but wants to end the matchup with the Aatrox. And with Aatrox being the most prioritized champion in this draft right now, like, Callisto gets from a band, but Aatrox gets picked. So I feel like every team should be like, okay, we need to make sure we have answers to Aatrox, counters to Aatrox, because like every draft is gonna have an Aatrox in top lane until people figure out what the answers are. And okay, Aurelia's first one to see was like, yeah, this feels pretty good. We've seen some cannons, those look pretty good as well. But I always want to see these teams have those answers to be like, this is the champion of the tournament. He is the most picked champion of the tournament. You need to have answers.
Yeah, and I think the biggest problem though for something like an Aurelia is just how much lockup you get with something like a Maokai. We see this so often where Aurelia likes to be able to move around in team fights, but just having these things that can keep her locked down are going to cause a lot of issues. But this is looking very similar to what we saw from DRX yesterday against RNG, where you end up with that Maokai jungle. You got Saigon, a great scaling mid laner as well. Deft has that opportunity to go for that late game scaling if you want, and that was kind of the story of DRX in playoffs. Like, they always ran some Ornn, Azir, Zeri, Sivir style. So there always was that late game option in their compositions. They had the opportunity to try and play for these late game fights, and it always worked out relatively well. I'm actually messing up because I've just realized that's Gen G, so I'm going to shut up.
That's okay. Regardless, though,
jet lag is ruining me.
I have made a million of those. Don't worry about it. It is finally nice to be able to cast a thing without being the one jet lagged, since last like 6 minutes have been out of the Berlin studio, and I land 2 days before I'm casting, and it's always horrible. So I can commiserate. I'm doing okay so far. You'll get there. It'll take you a couple days, but you'll get there. But Froggy is all about, he interviewed actually yesterday about why he picked Zach in the mid lane. And it's like, yeah, I want to push my lane and then go roam and do stuff. Like, you look at his champion pool, Talia, Lissandra, Galio, Seraphine, and then, you know, Zach yesterday. Like, this is the kind of play he wants to go for. I am a Galio. Yeah, really, you're going to go do some stuff. I will be here to help. If Maokai jumps on you, I'll just give you the shield and we'll kill him together. It's no big deal.
Yeah, and I think Saigon have been the team that are most willing to experiment, right? Like, even look back at MSI, there was the maybe not so remember Malzahar pick for Froggy, but even when they came back from MSI, they're playing Shyvana mid, they're playing Mordekaiser in the jungle. They had a ton of these picks that they were willing to try and flex a bit with, and we're starting to see that creativity once more with, as you say, the Zach pick, now the Aurelia coming into the top lane, and I think it's really cool to see that they're willing to bring it out on the main stage against some of the best teams in the LCK.
I will say, more jungle, incredibly underrated. Yeah. I think that champion is awesome, and especially as a counter pick to Yuumi, because you just ult whatever her target is, and then she pops off. And if you have, like, I don't know, you just CC it, you just dies. It's great. You put it with Talia, you put the carpet down, and then you pop off. Yuumi literally can't get away. If she has a teammate, she just takes the rocks and dies. You just kill Yuumi for free in every single team fight. It's great.
That is beautiful.
Anyway,
what we actually
this doesn't matter. We'll get back on topic here. Bans that come through. Callista is banned away. DRX have not prioritized Callista as a top 3 pick in both their games so far. Xayah comes through as a big AD carry pick. Aphelios, MF, Caitlyn, Kai'Sa, Callista off the table. Xayah's number 6. Deft goes to his trademark Ezreal. And we get to find our final pick here for DRX.
Yeah, and I think, again, great team fighting here for DRX, right? I'm not the biggest fan. I was going to say the Tahm Kench. I think I would have preferred to see them that could be a little bit more proactive on the map, like the Leona or something along these lines. Like, yes, not great against the Xayah specifically, but if you can start to roam around the map, maybe like link up a King in the top lane, I think you can have a little bit more of a proactive time, but I mean, it still should be fine. A lot of what Saigon Buffalo are trying to do is just dive into the back line with the Irelia, set up with the Galio, so have that Tahm Kench for safety is all right.
Yeah, it feels like they're just trying to cover all the possible bases here, and this is interesting because, okay, never mind. We get the Renata Glass coming through, 8 picks on the split for Taki, counting worlds, and yeah, this lets them cover all the bases for Bill, right? Where it's like, okay, everyone picks on champ, by the way, always interesting when there's no swaps here for DRX, but we already have the engage, we have Maokai, we have the backline, we have Azir and Ezreal, we already have side lane control, so just make sure they really can't die. We're gonna be okay. So yeah, takes the defensive option. I can see it.
And it's very different on the opposite side. Like, you actually don't have a great engage, right? It's like Irelia going, catch me. She sends it to the team. You know, I don't know. It means that there's a lot of enhancement now to try and find like decent flanks. Like, yes, you've got a very, very situational ult for Taki there that he maybe can try and find something if you're all grouped up in a pit, but
sure,
it's so awkward to try and find these engages. So Saigon really needs to make sure that they're getting towards objectives first, like getting the opportunity to flanks. Otherwise, DRX have just such a good way of controlling the tempo of fights, and even, you know, being able to base check with Maokai is so good.
And it kind of reinforces what's good about the Tahm Kench here. Like, they have the better poke. Like, draft 4 and 5 are really good for them, where it's like, oh, you have a support pick left, but you don't have engage yet. I mean, maybe you assume they're gonna pick a Leona here, but you're like, well, Zio's gonna poke. Cool, we'll go Ezreal, he's gonna poke. All right, find a way to get in on us. And if you do, here's Tahm Kench. Oh, you Leona ulted somebody, you not ulted someone? Now we Tahm Kench them. You still have no engage. Cool, we ult for ult. Hey, we're still poking you, by the way, see ya. And I'm like, oh, this comp is just like, if you don't get behind, what do they do?
Yeah, I mean, nailed it. I mean, I'm actually quite worried for Saigon, but the thing is, Saigon have been very, very proactive. They're not a team exactly that kind of... They would not go into the situation where they're behind willingly, let's say. No. So I'm still looking to see exactly what we will get coming through a Froggy, especially in the Galio. I'll be keeping my eyes on him to see if he can try and help out when it comes towards the likes of BJ as well. Because BJ has been quite good at like getting into the opposition jungle, trying to steal away some of these camps. And when you are a Graves against Maokai, that feels like your best way to try and play this jungle matchup, and using Froggy as that little bit of extra aid whenever you go for those invades.
Absolutely. So we are onto the Rift here to see who's going to take this one home. Undefeated teams here in Group B, Vietnam's #2 seed, and as Chronicler famously said, the LPL's 5th seed DRX with a bunch of former LPL players on it. Make sure you tag him and thank him for that incredible analysis.
Yeah, I mean, Kingen, Zuka, Deft all used to play on in the LPL, so definitely feels a little bit like, at least in Chronicler's eyes, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, and I like to give analysts their credit for the storylines they bring up, so important to do that. But of course, yes, indeed, the LCK's #4 seed is players who come back to Korea and found themselves back at the World Championship here.
And I think it's been really cool, especially like, I've kind of been like a secret fan of Zuka for a while. Like when he came in on Vici Gaming, he was like Koma's new gift to the League of Legends world. He was like, this is the guy that I want to like mold to almost like what he did with Faker back in the day, right? And I think it's really cool to see Zuka kind of stepping up now and actually bearing that mantle so incredibly well. He's been so good for DRX. Like he was one of the shining lights on what was not a very bright Vici Gaming. So I love that we're starting to see him now get his opportunity at the world stage and really starting to show.
You get to see what comes through on this game. Quick early trading. Tahm Kench, not much of a brawl at level 1, although with the Relic Shield, it means they can play for level 2 on the second wave, and then if you can land the knockup, you just force the flash. So can be a little threatening there, but normally you expect the double range lane to have some priority. Froggy taking quite a bit of poke here, does not get that melee. There we go. Tags against level 2. Is on the Doran's ring start, so the regen not terribly high, as he's going to be pretty constantly poked here by this Azir, able to land the taunt for a bit of damage, and doesn't mean a ton, but it generally does deal some damage.
Yeah, he's really looking at these minion dematerializers. When you're able to get a couple onto those back minions, means you can one-shot them with your Q, and then you can actually start to have a bit of push in this lane. But until then, you see he's still contesting hard, so BJ can go for some behind this.
Yeah, Juhan realizes, though, that even though it's warded, he knows that he's here. He burns Smite on either Blue or Gromp, so BJ able to get the steal, as Juhan is like, yep, we're just going for a full clear, whatever. We know he's here, but it doesn't really matter. Will there be a play to the bottom side? They have to know that he's going to be around here. The ward comes down, but is he going to be able to play this one out? Because he's going to be subtly in a 1v3. The flash handshake gets a bit on the def. A flash get away, and BJ himself will survive. Has to burn nothing. So Taki basically bails out.
great call from Taki. Like, he is the reason BJ managed to escape away from that. Burns his flash, putting pressure onto Deft, and make sure that he buys just enough wiggle room for BJ to step away. So at the moment, at least nice job. Is Zeka just going to be a nuisance here?
That's not going to stop him. He has a bandage shield on, so Zeka doesn't take any tower damage, doesn't really matter, but yeah, that shield is on, means the damage won't stop the recall. Nice attempt, but just an exact interaction, it means nothing.
Yeah, and I mean, look, Zuka not really going to be able to push in this wave, and I think this is a nice job from Froggy. These early stages, like pushing in that full wave, making sure he gets the reset, and at least being a little bit healthier means that he's actually going to be able to hold on to control over this mid, even using the Ghost as well to get back to lane in time so he won't even lose out. So I'm curious to see now what BJ and Froggy want to try and achieve, because it definitely feels like they're trying to abuse the fact Zuka is low.
Yeah, got no mana, but we'll see how many more of the waves he's able to play, of course, once the TP back in at some point. The TP for Froggy forced to buy only boots. This should be the cannon minion. Oh, Q might have been down. Oh, or just really afraid of the trade, but actually loses the cannon on the top side. As BJ able to get a scuttle here. Up a camp of the Maokai. But is there even going to be nearly enough CC here? Information known pretty wildly here. Is it going to land the stun to start it out? Nope, saves the E, dodges away. The nose has to press that button again and waits it out well.
Yeah, I thought they were going to move Froggy up a little bit faster, but he hadn't quite cleared out the wave as quickly, so he still had the 2v2 on top side, even with Froggy having control over mid, so everyone on Saigon will back away. But this has kind of been the style that we've seen from Froggy a lot for Saigon, is he's looked significantly more comfortable on these more roaming-oriented picks, so I like that already. We're starting to see them playing for that style, at least Froggy is. They're getting a bit of vision control to spot out what Juhan's pattern is going to be as he goes back across his Raptors.
Minions taking their damage back and forth again on the top side. Good couple of hits there. Worth pointing out, though, that Husband is down in health a lot. He has been actually up CS here on Kingen, and obviously more to farm here as well. So, yeah, gets away from... Okay. I mean, he's fine. Just take some damage for it. And afraid of going under the tower. Doesn't want to get traded on too hard, so burns his cooldowns, and at some point he's going to TP back. But he wants like the components of Ruin King. It's like, how long can I wait before I have to buy?
I'm curious if it is going to be, like, what is the build going to be, right? Because we've obviously seen the Rune King into the Sunfire Cape and really popular, which it looks like it will be. There's also, like, when you're playing against 3 melees, maybe you just want to go for the old Gore Drinker build as well. But yeah, it looks like it will be just the Bork build here, which has kind of become a bit more standard.
I could easily see it being Ruin King and a Bork second. You're probably just doing Sunfire, to be honest. But I can see that functioning if he's doing actually well gold-wise. Lets him be a bigger carry. And as you mentioned, yeah, triple melee is always like the Gore Drinker alarm goes off in your head. It's like, but if I could do this, I just feel like he wants the 1v1 so badly that I don't know any fighter players who are willing to skip Ruin King first item.
Yeah, true.
Like, there's none of them.
It's that just the power between those two items is just so insanely strong.
It's very strong, yeah. I mean, it got buffed 6 months ago or whatever, and people picking it up on a lot of champions. Like, yeah, this is actually a pretty solid build. Sunfire always was the more damage-oriented tanky one, and yeah, you find the components that work for you, and you get a functional champion at the end of the day. BJ wants to come back in. Of course, he knows he countered the red buff a while ago. It's not back up yet. It's going to be around 8 minutes when that one comes, but able to at least get rid of some vision in the opposing jungle. We are still a minute and a half away from Rift Herald spawning, but Drake is up, and I mean, farm-wise, it looks like Shogun's been doing pretty well down there. Taki going to walk through a ward himself. A lot of vision actually been put down by DRX.
It feels really hard for Saigon Buffalo to try and play as aggressive as they'd want to in these early stages, though, because it feels like you're waiting on DRX to overextend before you can really make this combo with Froggy work. Because you don't really have someone who can set up properly, right? Like, Taki can't just flash in on people, or Hasman can't really go aggressive, so you need DRX to overextend, and at the moment DRX are like, well, hang on, we've got an Azir and an Ezreal. Why in the name of God would he ever try and fight this in the early stages? So I like what DRX are doing right now.
Yeah, exactly. Kingen is pushing, basically, and he's been safe. Totally fine, right? Gets this rated Dirk. He's back on the map. He's TP'd about a minute ago, and he's still chilling up there, basically. Pretty equal farm between these two. Is eventually Hasman will get himself a Ruin King. Spikes will be at pretty similar times. They're getting pretty equal farm, all things considered. And even BJ hasn't gotten that much done against Juhan. Up about a camp and a half, 2 camps, but not a ton here. Still would love to see them find a way to get pressure and stack an early Drake if you can make that happen, but it often can cost you a good reset timing. Blue handed over, double camp. Yuan knocks that one down, good job.
Looks like we've got BJ starting to move down in towards this bottom side, though. Might be trying to abuse the fact Deft and Beryl have just started to push this wave on bot side and move over towards Rift, but actually just going to immediately move over towards Dragon. We'll be spot on the ward at the back end, though.
Well, the blue handed over to Azir. That means I think they got maybe one turn at playing for mid lane control first. Actually going to be roaming towards the bottom side, thinking that actually if they're pushing, we can gank them. Is it going to happen though? Level 5 on Tom Kench, but already Deft walking far enough back, but it's the top side. It goes even better. The flash follow isn't enough, and Hosmid gets away from Q2, but not the third one. First blood comes through for Kingen.
Great read from Juhan and Kingen. They were like, hey, okay, you're investing onto bot side. We see you at this dragon. Great. We're immediately going to go up towards this top end, get the kill on towards Hosmid. And BJ, yes, we'll get a red buff, but I mean, as a Maokai, all you want to do is try and set up your lanes for success, and Juhan's doing just that.
Looking great at play towards mid, not going to happen there. Zika also jumps over the wall, no problem. And, well, you get attacks now onto the Rift Herald. Does DRX get both? Looks like BJ doesn't even want to walk up. Aatrox, yeah, he wants to reset, but actually Juhan decides that even though no one walked towards him, he's like, but Aatrox is recalling, and if Graves shows up, I might die, so he takes the recall, though he actually would have been getting it.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that. I actually thought that Saigon might just back away, maybe go, hey, look, we'll just trade for Dragon, because I just don't really see a way for them to try and get in here, but I mean, giving that much space now, BJ able to move in. He will be spotted here by Barrow, but with the reset from Juhan and the control that they have over mid, I think this just goes the way of Saigon.
If they can buy like 10 seconds, because Aurelia's pushing in top wave right now, and Kingen would lose 150 gold just to do anything at all. Instead, we're going to have Ezreal stuck in the bottom side. He's safe, no TP up, so he can push for a wave. And as everyone else roams up, it is entirely Saigon Buffalo's pick. Zeka gonna get grabbed, knocked up. He's got an ulti, and that's gonna give him a ton of space. Burns the flash, and he's not in a range for BJ to hit him. Walks far, knows Graves could try, knows the Herald was claimed, but gets out.
So Zeka ends up burning 2 flashes on Saigon, but the biggest problem was that Juhan had actually moved over towards that dragon. They wanted to use the push that Deft had on bot side, actually go for the cross map I was talking about for Saigon, but because Zeka goes low, they can't go for it, and now BJ's on top side, and he wants to give this gold to the Aurelia, Froggy and Toe.
But they know, TP, maybe it's coming up for Zeka, sure, but they can try to take this one as a 3v1, but the turret, yeah, held away from the minions, beautifully done by Kingen, identifies he has to make that line of play to prevent the dive, and Hosmid can't fight him 1v1. You saw how much stronger he is in that lane, so yeah, I'll take a wave and push you off. Beautifully done by Kingen. Basically saves his own life by tanking the wave. Really, really well done there. And now we finally get that cross map for DRX.
Yeah, nicely done by DRX. I mean, both Kingen and Juhan as well, just reading the map well. Deft going to be able to zone the bot lane away as well, because there's just no vision on the map for Saigon right now, so they're not really sure. I mean, is Juhan sitting in the bush? Is he on Dragon? Like, where are these? Even Barrel stealing away the grub there as well.
Spellbook Smite, I love it. Doesn't get the bonus XP because you need the item, not Smite, to get it, but still does pretty well to deny the money away from BJ. Ulti comes across, but though rooted, doesn't matter, Deft is fine.
Def will be able to walk away from that one, but at the moment, again, DRX, like, it's a little bit of a slow burner, but they're just playing it out well. I mean, you're getting the advantages on the map. Zika will spot BJ here, but BJ hasn't really found a spot that he can get into. Oh, hang on.
They're gonna try again. No flash, has the ult, pushes Froggy back in the tower. He will just barely live, but the shots still come through. The flash for Link to the 1-for-1 assist is extra money. Still well played by Zeka.
Yeah, nicely done by Zeka to get in there. Juhan as well here to collect the wave. So again, I mean, Green Jay's just kind of been running around the map trying to find a place to put down this Rift Herald, but every single time DRX have found a way to put him in his tracks. And Kingen now keeping this wave once more away from his tower because he knows Bean Jay's moved up towards this top side, but you're going to just see it here. Zika just nicely done, gets over the wall, and I mean, full commit here coming through from Froggy. I mean, a little bit of an overstep here from Zika, but does manage to get the turnaround kill just with the extra damage and a nice little walk in towards the tower.
The last little stab really heads up as I get like, okay, he's gonna be low enough that if I put in enough hits, I'll kill him. Identifies it well, really good handle on the damage output. W blocks some of the damage, ults for some space, but will it be enough? The stun comes in, but the damage is still way too good from the DRX top side. Kingen gets the second kill of the game. This one handed out to Juhan.
Yeah, Juhan has just been doing such a good job of keeping track on where BJ wants to go and showing up there and just waving at him. Just saying, hey, what are you going to do? And now Beryl is playing jungle as well. Smites the Grump and now wants to play for mid as well, but Froggy will be able to clear out the wave before Beryl can get in.
And they are just scaling. DRX, we already talked about in the Champ Select dialogue how teamfight's going to feel pretty unwieldy when who gets onto whom and how do you kill them when Beryl holds a Tom Kench ulti. And they've gotten themselves the early game lead as well. So honestly feeling very good here, DRX. A flash forced out of Beryl. Summoner heal actually dropped as well. So, okay, cool. A Scuttle Crab is claimed, VJ. Nice. Here in North America, we love prioritizing Scuttle Crabs, so good job channeling the LCS champions.
I mean, look, it feels a bit bad when he's staring at me from the wall every time I look at you. It's not great.
Yeah, for those who aren't with us here in person, which is literally all of you, except the production staff, hi. We are in the LCS studio, back where the LCS games are normally cast, and there's a bunch of banners, for those who haven't been here, of all the LCS champions. And so, yeah, Blabber is physically looking at what was the camera, but it means his eye contact is at us, just 90 degrees to the left, looking at his Spring 2020 championship banner. So that is why that whole story happened.
But look, we're coming back in. Saigon Buffalo finally do get that Rift Herald down. At least it'll be some goal going over towards Froggy and towards BJ now trying to use that to get in here, get some of the advantages. But this is what we're talking about. It doesn't feel like we've kind of seen BJ get the advantages that are really going to make the difference, right? Like, look, he's going to be strong, great CS leader at the moment, and already having that immortal shield ball complete. But when you just look at the control that DRX have on the map, the inability for Froggy to really kind of help out.
Oh, he wanted to preempt it. He thought Shogun was going to force out an arcane shift, and it would have been the Berserk preempted. I understand the idea of the play, but DRX is too strong to just shift backwards. He chunked out Shogun.
Yeah, I mean, just unfortunate, but Def now, very low on mana. Can't arcane shift with the mana he has.
143, just enough. The hell, the mana bar's tiny, but 1776, a great, please, no. Yes, still 1776, a great amount of mana. Beautifully done. American independence, baby, let's go. DRX, channeling his inner US hopeful. New favorite player.
Look, we already have the ego. We don't need more of this, all right?
No, we've got Jojo from the ego. We got Def's mana bar. This game is going 7 kills to 4.
Yeah, I keep expecting somebody to just walk up and wave the American flag behind you as we come back to test.
Yeah. We'll change the backdrop behind us from the world.
Yeah.
Just the U.S. flag, even though it's in Mexico right now. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, we put a quick shot in Goldberg in jail yesterday for disrespecting America, so it does make sense.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, at this stage, it feels a bit rough for Saigon. It's not even the fact that they are just slightly behind. It's that, as we already talked about, the composition doesn't really give them much wiggle room to try and get back into this. Nope. Trying now Froggy to just kind of get something against Kingan, but he's able to back it up. And with this next Rift Herald just about to spawn, looks like we might finally get our first big 5v5.
Drake coming up in 10 seconds, Herald at the exact same time, basically jump into the backside. Oh, you hate to see it. Shogun ults backwards. Not gonna really matter, wasn't gonna kill anyone, but you'll have to get the damage if you can.
Get something anyway, but Shogun a little bit worried about his life there, so we'll just manage to escape away. Yeah. And now you lose mid tower, you lose presence in river, and you even got Kingan, who's reset as well. He's just walking his way down towards bot side. He's like, "Come, you guys got this. I'm a piece on out."
Not even festive Maokai, and already Juhan has more presence than river, so it's just completely stacked against him right now. 6 minutes in, second Herald, gonna be a formality here. Pops the eye. A couple shots come through, knows that Q Smite will kill it. And we get a pretty early second Herald now for DRX. Cross map though, a possibility, you have to believe, with him running off of that side of the map. In fact, Maokai is still in top lane. Ty gets a handshake, but Def definitely does more damage. His top lane tower should die here to this Herald.
I love how aggressive Def is playing this Ezreal. It's so fun to watch him try and play on the edge. Hasn't been punished for it just yet, but Hasman might be punished topside. Juhan does get caught. A bit of damage actually. Oh, the ulti doesn't land, but a flash gets away from Galio. Flash can't get the rest of it, and Zeka's already there. It was so nearly a good play from Saigon Buffalo, but it is nothing. Froggy kills off Shelly, and on the other side of the map, there are enough resources that DRX are going to grab this Drake as well, unless they can get the rest of it. They know there's no smite. It should be BJ's, but the Drake resets. They still want to go for it. Shogun, no ulti, no health, no hope, but Drake claimed, but at what cost? There's already been a couple of kills, and there's gonna be a third. BJ falls 6-1. Even losing his red buff on the top side of the map as Juhan is stealing that away. It is disaster for Saigon Buffalo. The 4K gold lead now starting to come in for DRX, and that's not even with Zek who's going to be able to collect this tower on the bot side as well. They've already got the two elsewhere on the map. DRX now start to move the waves in, get the vision control they need, continue to play for this dragon stacking, and I just don't know how you try and break this as Saigon. You don't have that pick potential without a good engage to it.
They found their way onto a single kill. It was a nice dive on mid, but it was still traded back by Zeka. The attempt at the top lane counter pick, sadly, not working here for Hasmid. The two ganks he's offered Juhan both work.
And I mean, look, this is a nice attempt from Hasmid as you got Froggy coming in, but great flash from Juhan. The ultimate as well just pips Froggy as he tries to flash it over it. And I mean, then Zeka's there. He's already huge and dealing so much damage where on the opposite side of the map, you've already got the advantages crewing for DRX as well. Taki tries his best to set up with the hostile takeover, but it's just too little too late. DRX are just able to follow through, and you've even got people starting to come on down in mass with the TP from the Azir into this fight.
Shogun has done a bit of hitting the dragon. I understand help the objective, but Piggin and Barrel come right back in, and he's just locked down. Flash, according to the replay, was still up. I'm not sure if it actually was, but I know his ult was down from the prior trade, but comes out of the replay with Flash, so that feels like an unfortunate mistake on a game that's already going pretty rough here with Saigon Buffalo.
Yeah, and it's just a case of, like, I mean, Shogun and Taki have been so damn strong for Saigon Buffalo, but you're going up against Deft, who has kind of, I mean, been that lifeblood for DRX alongside Zuka as well, so unfortunately Shogun and Taki not able to kind of match up to the prowess that Deft has, and haven't been able to get that help that we expected from BJ and Froggy with the way this game panned out, with the way things didn't go right for Hasmid. So it's kind of been a series of unfortunate events here for Saigon Buffalo, and it doesn't really look like it's going to get better anytime soon.
I mean, BJ, I think, played, Graves into a tank reasonably well. He took camps away, was generally, I feel like, up in tempo, but the rest of it matters a bit too much. BJ should be able to get out and does. Combination of E and R gets away from Aatrox.
I love how DRX are taking a spooky season real serious here.
Taki just gonna die for that one? Yeah, there's no E-live. I think he wanted to go for a flash handshake and hope the kill came through afterwards with bailout, but just it's getting bad to worse now. Froggy gonna be found out. Hello, buddy. We're gonna get a little devour, little Zeka action, little 2v1 now on the support. Barrel versus stopwatch, and not enough time anymore as Juhan's on the way over. BJ loses his shield bow, and he's gonna be rooted in place. Oh, that was pretty much perfect by Froggy. Actually, tanked a lot of it, blocks some Azir damage, and just keeps the jungler alive. Fancy plays here from Saigon Buffalo, but the end result is probably still gonna be just the one for nothing. Atanda's in, a stun, and actually, maybe they kill off Juhan. They know the ulti's gone. Gale Force auto, Shogun on the board, gets away from Deft, has to flash the final Mystic shot.
Still, though, Saigon are stuck underneath this tower now, and a lot of members of DRX are moving up here. Deft still in position. Froggy goes so low.
Oh, can they find the rest of it? Manages to get away from the ult. The true shot project gonna land, but King is in. Gets hand shook backwards. Maybe time for the rest of it. Maybe not. A bunch of people live on Saigon Buffalo, just barely, 7-2.
I mean, everyone on DRX wanted a piece of that play, but unfortunately Saigon not going to give them that opportunity. Baron is still up and available though, and with the amount of vision control DRX have right now, I mean, they just are looking to pick off members of Saigon when they try and contest this vision, and immediately they'll be able to turn over towards Baron. I mean, you got the Azir, Deft is in a great spot with 2 items as well. Like, even though it is only 20 minutes, they have so much damage on DRX right now.
6,000 and change. Looking very good here for the 2-0 start. DRX poised to top the group right now. I will say, based on what I've seen, I know people are keeping RNG and Mad Lions in the running for, oh, it's going to be scary to fight number 1, 2, or like DRX look like the best team in this group right now. They took down RNG in a fun one. I think they are looking the best of all the teams in this group. I would favor them against Mad Lions. Like, DRX are just poised to speedrun this play.
And it's been such a massive step up for them as well, coming off of LCK regions. Yeah. Like, they were so poised yesterday, took it slow, setting up vision, not really giving RNG an opportunity to come in. Now, it's 1 or 2 like Miss Barons, but overall, just a really, really good performance from DRX. And I mean, that's why at the moment they are posed to top the group, because RNG was the team that everyone was kind of waiting to see if they could take down.
Oh, the flash in, good reflexes by Deft, able to arcane shift away from Froggy, going for the flash push forward. And it's going to be Baron claimed now as well, an early one. 21 minutes, 40 seconds. Red Bull Baron power play already started here.
And that was 2 people.
Yeah.
That wasn't even all of DRX. That was just 2 folks who were like, oh yeah, we'll wander on over here, we'll be able to take it. But that's what I mean. DRX, so incredibly strong at the moment, with 2 items completed across the board. Now they get to start sieging up, and I mean, who really stops this? I mean, Shogun, BJ, they're so incredibly short range, and Juhan is sitting in behind them.
There's the ulti coming across. Shogun should survive this one, but it still means ow on the front line. Hasmid, though, tanky enough. Had gone steel caps, but still walks away in time. I assume has tenacity elsewhere in the build. We look at the bottom side now as Froggy gets to clear the waves, though slowly. Gets rid of the cannon and just tries to hold on, but there was a 70 CS lead across the mid lane here. Zeka is huge. Solo kills the top lane. Turret, he's just gigantic.
Yeah, I mean, across the board, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Kingen is absolutely controlling this matchup against Hasmid. Nobody can really deal with Zeka as well, because yet again, you don't have to usually you see her be like, I'm not really fond of playing inside lanes. There's a lot of people who can catch me, they lock me up, I go down. But I mean, realistically, when you look at what Saigon Buffalo have, I mean, you just get to be a side lane threat now, Zika, because no one actually has the engage realistically. That's why we keep seeing Taki go for these flash handshakes, because it's just like we have nothing else to do if we don't actually land these.
Yeah, I think if Hasmed were winning his lane, it's like, oh, cool, like, he's got pressure, we can go for the dives, right? But, like, you saw the one time they tried. They send jungle, they send mid, they go top lane, and King goes, you're at 10% and I'm taking this wave. And they go, all right, never mind, see you. And Drink gets claimed. And if Hasmed were, I don't know how people were saying it, if you were a better player and he's winning laning as Kingen, or they were able to track Juhan a bit better, because I know the lane went badly because of Maokai ganks, right? It's not just, oh, you lost 1v1, it was a 2v1 a couple of points, right? But like, if that lane goes better, we can tower dive Aatrox, we can tower dive him again, we smash Herald, that kills mid lane, and they can keep tempo going, and their objectives first, and you know, like, then the game goes differently, but the Irelia got to do nothing because Maokai was there twice.
And that's the double-edged sword that is this flexibility for Saigon Buffalo, right? Like we were talking about the Siobhan and the Mordekaiser jungle. They lost that game, right?
Yeah.
And now they've brought it this cup as well. That ain't looking so hot as the siege continues for DRX.
Oh, the flash over the wall might get BJ flash to safety, stays alive. The true shot bar is going to land, but Hasmed will get yet another death. Maokai finally falls as the Galio dives in and buys a second, but bailout will not change anything. The flash to the back line sets up the double kill, and everyone is gone. BJ left alone to watch his base crumble. A fast one. Invitos here, 24.5 minutes. Inhibitor already gone. BJ try to cut the next wave, as they can't tank this forever. But with TP they can. Very heads-up play there by Kingen. Means they have enough. They cycle it through. The spellbook? No, it was Death's TP, making sure it happens. They have enough minutes to kill the Nexus. A 25-minute slaughter. DRX 2-0.
And the double kill at the end. Absolutely no trouble for DRX in this one. They make it look clean. And again, I mean, DRX looking fantastic coming into this. A lot of people as well, I think, coming into this were like, hey, look, this should have been Liv Sandbox position, right? Like, Liv Sandbox died so DRX could get here. And a lot of people are like, we need to see DRX take that big step forward to represent what the LCK has become in League of Legends. And I mean, they've had a fantastic tournament so far. Now, only day 2, but you can already see that big performance increase that we wanted to see from the squad.
Yeah, and it feels like to me they've